やばこれ。あ、まこさんお疲れ。イートアナザーアップル。なんか飛ばした。どうやって動かす？全然わからん。どなんだこのゲーム。どうやって食べるんだってこれ。なんだ踊るぞこれ。切ったねー。Go to the sandbox. No one will ever love you. どういう意味？なんか来たなんか来た！これやばいな。いた。なにこいつらやばくない？
John woke to the shrill cry of his alarm clock and lay there, rigid, his usual morning condition. But there was another reason John couldn't get out of bed. It was the weight. A weight that had nothing to do with his muscles or fat or sweaty blankets. John was weighed down by a piece of paper. The invitation to his high school reunion. From across the years, the words he'd heard in the schoolyard were still clear. You're a loser. No one will ever love you.
Oh! 動かないんだけど。あ、動いた。ん？何すればいいの？操作がわかんないんだけど。何これ？これしかできないの俺。
John threw on an outfit. He didn't feel comfortable wandering around his home naked. John needed to shower and wash off the sweaty stink of desperate sadness.
どういうことやり方がわかんないよ。なんで後ろ前変わったりすんの？どうやって持つのこれ？あ、持った？え？どうやって持つのこれ？服着た俺？なんか刺さってる。やばー。
Most people would shower, then dress, but John was running late.
かぶってるって誰や言うてんの？ナイス。次何するんや？こ この動きがやばくない？
John had 3 months until the reunion to turn his life around. First, he needed to clean up.
何これ？これ
John
絶
called
対やばい。
it
やー
study,
は
basically for games
ー
and
なんか刺さってますけど。
mostly.
お、これアウトじゃない？このゲームやばいな。やばマジで。何してんの？何してんの？え、何クリーンディッシュだ。ちょっと英語がわからん。この人何もできないんだけど。何？クリーン。
John's head was on fire. He seemed surprised. He shouldn't have been. The only reason he'd ordered so much takeout was because Delilah, the delivery peen, made John feel butterflies
勝
in
手に
his
刺さったよ、あれは。
testicles.
これ何？クリーンディッシュ。何よ、あれ。何なんか食べたけど。やばっ。あ、なんか、なんか言ったことなってる。何？なんか食えばいいの？このゲームやばいな。ペイン。あ、痛いの？それは痛そう。クリーンディッシュ。なんか笑えばいいんだな、俺は。何すればいいの？
John knocked over the computer. There would be no more hardcore gangbang binges for him. No, he was going to get a
あれ、パソコン壊れちゃったよ。やばー。あ、これでお尻をきれいにするってこと？なんか違うっぽいな。なんかすごい音してるけど大丈夫なのか、このゲームは。ちょっとどういうこと？操作もわかんないし。お、
John had left his apartment late, but if he caught the express bus, he might make it to work on time. John didn't really like his job, but it had 2 qualities in its favor. 1, he could pay his rent, and 2, Barbara. Currently John's top candidate for his reunion date.
このゲームやばいな。目的がわからん。キャッチバス。バスを止めればいいんだな。
John noticed a moderately attractive teen waiting at the stop. He tried to start a conversation and did not get the reaction he'd hoped for. It was probably because he was a minimum wage peen. She could probably sense it.
この動きしかできないんだけど。お、止まった。どうやって乗るの？ふー言うてる。お、乗った。
The office hummed with cold fluorescent lighting. The air was cold and stale, lifeless. How long had John worked here? Long enough to deserve better.
あ、掴んだっぽくない？水入れればいいんじゃないのこれ。あ、なんかこれむずいな、操作。ちょっとコップ。入れようとはしてないんだよ。なんか動きがよくわかんない。急に後ろ向いたり前向いたりして、こいつよくわからん。あ？ フレッシュコープ。お店かこれ。あ、どうもどうも。なになになになに。そんな絡んでこんでもいいよ。あ、汚ねえなお前ら。なんかここは何よくわからん。
John was late, but he felt daring.
こいつ
He
ジョン
could
っていうの？
sneak into the office through the archives, or he could stroll through the front entrance with enough confidence to bluff his boss. Predictably, he chose the direct route.
誰か英語詳しい人は助けてほしいかもしれんっていうレベル。何してんだこれ。急に上向いたりするよ。この人誰？これは何？ QI コードなの？なんだろうこれ。じゃあ何すればいいか全然わかんない。このゲームの世界観。
John was nearly trampled by the
すごいいっ
morning
ぱい
coffee
来るよ。
rush.
何してんの君たちは。え？Z さん確かにいればわかるかもしれん。てかケケさん何？これはまずいんじゃない？
Everyone else was hard at work, grinding away. John might actually get away with this. The boss. He honed in on John, deluging him with spit and buzzwords. The boss ran out of synonyms for John's failings and gave him an ultimatum. Barbara would definitely not be interested in dating John if he was unemployed. He had to get to the quality assurance department.
あれ？追い出されちゃったな俺。何これ。
There might be a faulty dildo just waiting to cost the company millions in lawsuits. John would have to test
これ仕
them
事
all.
俺の。いた！
Every atom of John's rectum began to vibrate with the frequencies of pure pleasure. His orifice was a paradise. This vibrator would end all wars.
テスト50バイ
It
ブ
was
ス。
good.
あ、50個
The
確かめんだバイブを。
Prostate Pounder X900 series, the most advanced vibrator on the market.
次々来るよ。ということ試すってどうやって試せばいいの？
Sweet mother of no!
やばー！
Too much pleasure for one anus to
す
handle.
ごいしんどいや。痛そう。やばー！え？ということ俺が暴れてるってことこれ。やばー！やばいでしょこの威力。絶対怒られるよ俺。お尻から煙出て
His heart was proud. If that vibe had gotten out into the world, it could have injured a customer as badly as it had ravaged his anus.
煙出てるからお尻冷やすんかな。あ、絆創膏もあるじゃん。あ、なんかやばい怒られんじゃないこれ。
And congratulated John on taking one for the team and jumping on the hand grenade, or in this case, putting it up his butt.
あー、なるほどね。カット板貼
John
っ
was
て
having trouble following the
お尻冷やして
conversation
治ったん
because
だ
he
俺。
was quite high on suppository painkillers.
ね大丈
And
夫？
then the boss
痛
said,
い？君も
promotion.
痛いのかって。
Finally, the company was recognizing John's
ここ
hard
に
work
氷あるよ。
and ignoring his minor faults like lack of talent, constant
あれ？まだ
lateness,
痛いの？
and flatulence. John's new office smelt like polished wood and success.
何
John's
Make the
success.
space your own 何言ってる
Sam
かさっ
dropped
ぱりわからん
by. He'd heard John had been hurt.
サム
John said he was fine. He wasn't a softie to complain about a mildly ruptured rectum.
何なんかま
Besides,
ともに動
he
かないんだ
had
け
a
どこれ
promotion to celebrate. John had met Sam in college
何急
during
に
a
変わったけ
sports
ど
ball
今度
game. He'd given him some
サッカーすれば
stiff
いいの
competition.
この人何友達ほらあほら難しくないサッカーほら入らないんだけどやめろチャンスお前邪魔すんなあ
They'd started at Flesh Corp product testing
また変な
together.
ことしなきゃ
Nothing builds
お
a friendship like a long day of dildo mounting.
おあいつすごいな優秀やなでってやんのこれおおいいねいいねこれはさっきみたいなことにはならんやつみたい自分のスペースを作るのでも俺これで自分のスペース作るのやだなほら来いさあ来いおおいえ
Yes. John had known Sam for a while. Everyone was quiet, listening to the presentation. A good moment for John to ask Barbara out.
バーバラ
But John couldn't hang out with Sam. He had a reunion to prepare for.
何どうなってん
He
のこれ
was going out with Barbara tonight. He just had to ask her.
ちょっとゲームの世界観わかんなすぎるこれ何すればいいんやって俺は
That's not Barbara, John.
あなんて言ってんの
Barbara agreed. Well, she nodded. Sort of. Things were really going John's way.
なんか始まったぞ
John tried to act as suave as possible and listened to Barbara talk business. He didn't want to blow his chances at long-term love
go
and
on there.
short-term sex. Barbara began to talk about monthly feedback figures, and John started to zone out, imagining him and Barbara at the reunion, a power couple. She would make his classmates sick with envy. If he could get her to tone down the boring chatter. John's balls were gripped by certainty. Barbara was the perfect date for the reunion.
どうやってショーオフ your skills
John thought he would impress
behind
Barbara
the
by going
bar.
behind the bar and showing the bartender a thing or two. Despite Barbara's protests that it was unnecessary, John knew that a true gentleman should
こ
follow
れで後ろ前
her home.
反対にすんのか
He was excited. There was still 3 months until the reunion, and he'd already landed his perfect date. All he had to do was seal the deal.
口そっちなんだねお尻が口みたいだよ
Barbara thanked John for the evening and politely did not invite him inside for coffee or sex, even though John had dropped some pretty obvious hints he'd be into both, or just the sex.
いて
The door slammed on
入れ
John's
てくんないけ
hopes.
どこの人
He didn't understand. He'd laughed at all Barbara's pie chart jokes. He'd listened to her boring stories. The blank eyes of the lawn flamingos were witnesses to John's shame.
お熊みきはよくわかんないゲームやってるんや世界観がやばいんやこれこいつの俺何すればいいの
John began the lonely walk home.
ないよ。
Thoughts tumbling like shoes in a dryer. He had done everything wrong.
給配置がないです。
Barbara had led him on just to humiliate him.
バーバラ探しに行けばいいの？バーバラしか聞き取れないんだけど。
John felt empty. How could he get love?
Feeling empty.
He felt like he was missing something, some key to attracting sex. But John was shooting blanks. What did Peens want?
なんか犬がいるね。ピュッてしてから家に入る。ピュッてこれなんか向き変えるだけみたい。俺勘違いしてデュクデュクさせたけど、これ向き変えるだけだったもんね。
Then it hit John out of nowhere. Stuff. He had the success. He just needed to show it off.
他のボタンだって何も。
But where was John going to get all the stuff?
なんか出てきたよ。
John needed a sign.
やばー、うんこしたこいついきなり。はい。
A new day, a new John. He waited outside his local buttload store for it to open, eager to spend his promotion bonus on stuff. The best way to impress women.
あ、お金出てきた。どうすればお金の持ち方教えろって言うてんねん。これあいつにあげればいいんやろ、お金。なん勝手に入るな。ちょっと出てこい。あれ、お金どこ行った？俺のお金どこやって言ってるんや。持ってんのかな。はい。うわ、切ったね。あげたことなったねえ。
Generosity overwhelmed John.
これ俺も吹けんの？オープン。ああ。これ何や？は？金玉の部分挟まってますけど。玉の部分挟まるけど、これどうやって入んの？ほら。何？玉でかすぎ。何お前、ケツの匂い嗅いできたな。玉が邪魔で入れないんですけどって。玉1個取んのかな。あ、後ろ向きで行けばいいんだ。
Suddenly it occurred to John that he was going to make a lot of choices. And every one of those choices would tell the world who he was. Delicious.
食わせろ俺に。
Also delicious. How could John
いっ
decide?
ぱいあるじゃん、食べ物。おらおらおら。
Just so Moorish.
すごい食うやんこいつ。
Maybe one more.
お腹が減ってたのか。よし。何？
What would a date think when they sat in John's home? Comfort or style? John went with comfort. Plus, it matched the couch he already had. John weighed up all the differences, but this was a tough choice.
はい、どうぞ。
John chose the extremely, obviously bad TV.
いや、これこっちだな。こっち買います。
John realized that it was only 2 months and 29 days until the reunion.
おい。
Time flies. Cactus or rose?
サボテンお尻に
Was
刺さる
John
か
a
らな。
rugged
バラッシ
hero
ョ。
or a
これください。
romantic poet? If John grew his own flowers, then he'd save on
おい、
romantic
イエンさんやめろ、
gestures
そうい
in
う
the
こと
long
言う
run.
の。何これ。どういうこと？
There was nothing John could take with him to the grave.
なんか枕あるからこっちにするか。
Except his coffin. Death is inevitable. Style is not.
おちんちんに
John
骨っ
liked
て
to
な
get
くない？
his pizza delivered. That way he could see Delilah, the delivery peen. She always made him smile. John knew that Delilah thought pineapple on pizza was an abomination. What bedding would Delilah
これは
prefer?
ピザでしょ、ど
John
う考え
couldn't
ても。
help wondering. Pizza sheets would show her that John could also deliver in bed. Devoid of any sense of style, buying new clothes would be John's toughest challenge.
あ、服全部買ってきま
He
すよ。
bought an outfit without trying it on.
記
It
号入
was
れる
a
よ。
hula skirt. I thought you should know that much. It's not flattering. Very spunk rock.
パンクロック。
Music, the food
い
of
や、これ
love.
はこっちでしょ。かっ
Should
こいい
John
から
go retro sophisticated or just retro?
何これ？
John's personal nostalgia was more important than sound quality. Every can was made of metal, pulled from the bones of the earth, wrestled to the surface and smelted in roaring furnaces. All so John could buy peas preserved in salty water and stick them up his butt.
少しも何言ってるかわかんないんです。何？すごい買ってるやん。
John's new purchases were on the way to his apartment. All he had to do was invite a date over. One look at all his stuff, and they'd be overwhelmed with
バスで持って帰
sexual
るんだ。
desire. John felt proud, and also hungry. It gave him an idea. He should invite the
ユウ
lady
さんすげえな。
over
オ
for
ープン
dinner.
するまで待てとか分かったんだね。
John was
お
excited. Delilah
お
was on her way. He just needed to set
裕福になったってこと？
romance. John hoped she didn't have allergies.
ミュージック。これか。これ入れればいいのか？ほら。いいね、キャンドルス。出て火つけんのこれ。シュッてやるとこどこ？シュッてやるとこどこや？はあ！お！やば！お尻に刺さると火つく精度なんや。
That must be Delilah at the door.
勝手に刺さったんだけど、はい。
The door opened and there was Delilah.
おー、
John gulped down his
ワ
nerves
イン。
and invited her in.
何や、
John
お
could
前、
tell
何
that
勝手に入って
Delilah
くん
was
な、家
impressed by
に。
his stuff. It was time to crank up the mood to
出てけよ。
seduction.
全然わからんゲーム。はあ。お尻に勝手にどんどん刺さってく。あ、お酒飲めばいいの俺。
John wanted to offer Delilah
Yay.
wine, but he'd already popped his cork. Delilah started looking as nervous as John felt. He assumed it was because she was shy too. They really were compatible. Of course, at the reunion, he couldn't mention Delilah was a delivery.
ワイン入れんとってだってグラスないよ。
Delilah suddenly headed for the door. John hadn't even paid. And just like that, John was alone again. Delilah hadn't even looked at his stuff. Not even the pizza bedspread. The rejection burned. John felt insignificant. He had everything he wanted.
ちょっとこ
The
れ
job,
難し
the
い。
money, the stuff.
あ、痛い。
So much stuff. He wanted to destroy all of it.
ディ
Shove it into
ス
the
ト
abyss.
ロイ。
Fuck off, inanimate objects. His stuff didn't matter. He was a shaft in the machine. A lonely piston pumping away
Why
like all the
didn't
others
you?
in his rigid place. Nothing special about him. Why should Delilah or Barbara or any other peen be interested in dating him? He was just like everyone else and they could tell.
John never liked plants anyway. Sayonara, stool.
John wanted to be special, but he had to face the numb
Show
truth.
the material
All the
world
money and
of
stuff he'd
his
ever
boss.
accumulate wouldn't change that. He thought it would make him unique, but it just made him more like everyone else. He should leave it all. Get out of this little town and go on an adventure. See the world. He was a boring corporate drone, but he didn't have to be. He could be a traveler, exploring jungles and climbing mountains. He could visit the wonders of the world and get his picture taken. Like Peony Island,
世界
the
観わかんな
unspoiled
くないこれ
paradise
何
he'd
する
seen
ゲ
on
ームなの
TV. That was it. John had to travel.
おこの布団いいやんえ
Bags packed, John was ready to put 5,000 miles between him and his problems. He was leaving it all behind, including his luggage.
あ
John was so
荷物忘れた。
close, he could almost smell the freedom of the skies.
なになになになになに
Security sent John back through the detector.
なになになになになにって
John had forgotten he had his nail
Oh.
clippers with him. He'd have to buy another
お尻
pair
に爪切り
soon,
入ってたの
or
ね
he'd look ridiculous.
爪切りはまあお尻に入れちゃいけないからな
When the acceleration of takeoff had slackened, John felt a sweet relief. He had left his worries on the
何も
runway.
できないんだ
He
けど
was
これ
up in the clouds, on his way to adventure.
Oh.
John's adventure had begun at last. And clearly it was a small world after all, and also a flat one. That was going to piss off the globeheads.
The Experience the Wonders どういう意味誰か英語詳しい人ああなるほど何とりあえずなんかお尻に入れればいいのこれか次ほらほらなんやこれか包茎折った食べちゃったけどこの人万里の長城これって食べれるもんなのお前強えなで痛い死んじゃうちょっと離れないんだけどこいつおぶねー食べれないのかこいつはいてなんか変な音するし痛いしなにこれ何するんやお前らなんかしてくれるんじゃないのかってねえあライオンがこいつを食うとこ見ればいいんじゃないほら食べろ食べないねわかんないから次やおペンギンさんやペンギンさんみんないなくなりましたけどハリウッド 俺がハリウッドを壊してやった。これこん中入るんだじゃあ。俺もトンネルに行くんじゃないのこれ。違うみたい。全然難しいやん。あっ、何でも入れるやんこの人。お金なくなるよ。もう何もなくない？ジャパン！こんにち
John was
は。
having fun, but something told him he
これなんか
needed
す
to go
ると思うん
home.
だよな。
Probably his empty bank account.
ガバガバやなこいつ。
John was on his way back home. He was out of money, but money can't buy love.
本当だ、かぶってる人いる。
Experiences that had
隣
made
に人
John
がかぶってます、先
an
生。
developed person with 100 Butstagram photos to prove it. Finally, everything was going smoothly.
っていうか隣の人っていうか向かいの人
John
やばくな
felt
かっ
good
た。
to be back on the familiar ground of home, but he would feel better to be on the familiar mattress of home.
これ俺の荷物？どれ俺の荷物だ？これか。スイカ欲しいな。スイカもらってこうかな。犬いるやん。犬持って帰る俺。待てって。ああ。コレクト。何すればいいですか？これどうすればいいですか？ここですか？何にもないじゃん。なんか詰まってね、荷物のとこ。どうした？ブーって言われたけど。
Despite John's swell of fresh optimism, traveling was exhausting, and he just really wanted to get home and get some sleep.
痛いけど。Go to right, go to left. スペース。Eat lunch. Find your locker. ラブレター入ってるけど。
Another nightmare. John's stress about getting a date for the reunion was making him think of her. Harmony. He hadn't seen her in years. Would she be at the reunion? John shook off the thought. He wasn't a child. He was a fully grown penis. John, why is the bathroom barricaded?
Foreskin's sake! John had no idea how it had gotten into his home, or why it hated him so much. It would probably be best to leave it alone.
なんでお前いるんや。いて、なんか噛まれるんだけどこいつに。いて、うえいてって、痛い。こいつ誰？あれ、扉開かなくなったけど。あの鳥怖い。え、なんか物何にもなくなってるじゃん。何、飲んだくれなのこいつ。何これ。
John's buzz started to buzz. Had he left a vibrator up there?
なんか乗ってるよ。
Whatever it was, he should get it out.
どこにあんの携帯。おっと。
John's old phone. They really were indestructible. It was Sam calling.
何言ってんのあいつ。何
He wanted to check in on John. The travel looked fine, but it was so sudden. Was John okay? Sam was such a softie, always worrying about feelings. John had only one feeling, and it was the feeling of being awesome. He could drop Sam a text, but John was on a mission. The reunion was getting closer, and he had to get a date. Fortunately, John knew exactly where to find love.
Find love. あれ、結婚式じゃね？
John held his breath. He was about to meet his match. He had to reassure himself he
展
could
開
do
がわ
this.
かんないけど俺
He
結
had a
婚
good
するみたい。
job. He had nice stuff. He had traveled. He was ready to find love.
何で Find the perfect
On Wiener,
match.
where all his sexy travel photos would give him the pick of the pack. Too skinny. Too short. Too much foreskin. Not enough foreskin.
あ、選べばいいの？
Glasses. Bangs. Nope. What a loser. Too wide. Hot. Yep, the pick of the pack.
ブって言われたけど。あ、なるほどね。
Yes! John had the pick of the pack.
「出会い系やってんじゃんこいつ。
John valued honesty.
こいつ誰？何？
But he
なんか急に来たけど誰
a
か。
different kind of dirty.
何
Hygienic kind.
すごいくっついてくるんですけどこの人。何ですかって。
John was scared of getting circumcised so late in life.
あ、履いて。
Oh, better put that on ice.
あれ？
It'll be okay, John.
え、やばっ！
Chick sticks cars.
いた？え、ちょ待って。
After the reattachment surgery, the doctors had told John to rest. So he did, for 6 hours.
れ持って入ればいいの？
Ugh, salty.
おらおらおらおらおらおらおらおらおらおらおら。
The date was off to a great start. Don't offer her popcorn, John.
ファインドアシート。何何どういうこと？あ、ここに座る。何お前邪魔なんだけど。
John was in stitches.
シングルモムダズワンエニライク。これ持ってくっぽくない？
Karen had invited John straight over. She was not fooling around. Very exciting. And now she wanted him round the back. Karen let John know that the cake was only for the kids. So was the candy. And the piñata. And that she'd be back in 1 hour.
Look after Kane's kit. どれどれどれ？どういう意味どういう意味どういう意味どういう意味？何すればいいの？I love beach ピンチニクス。急に連れてこられたって何していいかわからんやろって。
John laughed at Melody's hilarious bullfrog story. She was adorable. Everything was going perfectly.
なやばこの意味がわからんのやゲーム性が。俺捕まればいいの？な木に捕まるの？は？
John never saw Melody again. So far, Weena had been a parade of weirdos and rejections. If this date didn't work out, John vowed to give it up.
い
But
やマジで全くわからんよゲ
this
ーム。
time, maybe today would be his day. Sharona sighed and said, "You'll do."
この人がシャローナ？ヤッホー？あ、そっち行くの？何？
John felt a little underdressed and a lot overwhelmed. He was surrounded by strangers, and Sharona was glaring at the muscular groom. At least John hadn't missed out on the cake.
はい。何すればいいの？
John realized that Sharona had only brought him to create some penis envy. What a terrible plan, for so many reasons. John got excited. They were going to cut the cake. "He's mine!" Sharona screamed as she launched herself at the newlyweds.
Suddenly, penises were up and yelling, "No, he's mine!" It was a no-holds-barred cockfight.
Get the hacker. 何どういうことどういうこと？喧嘩かって。やば、包丁持ってる人います。殺されてるけど何これ？痛い。やばー。
As John dodged flying glasses and cake, he felt a stab of envy. The groom had dozens of penises after him, and John had none. It was just wrong.
その惨劇チンチンになってるけどみんな。包丁持ってる人止めればいいの？やめろー。 やめろって。おい、ハックアウトってどういう意味？痛い痛いって。逃げればいいのかな。何？ピーポーピーポー。
John left the screams and explosions behind him. It was a disastrous end to his online dating. He had tried everything, and it just wasn't good enough. Swans were so simple.
ね、
You
英
gave
語
them
がわ
bread,
からな
they
い。
liked you.
誰か英語わかる
You
人と
can't
やん
take
な
a
いとダ
swan
メ
to
か
a
もしれん。
reunion.
何危ない。何
John wanted what that groom had.
何
Love.
これヤンキー。
Real love. The kind that makes penises fight to the death.
言って何なんで俺殴られたの今。バス俺引かれてますけどちゃんと。お前邪魔でいけねえけど。いてなんかすさんだ世界になってない？急にバス乗れないし。お前邪魔なんだけど。何してんの？テイクシャワー。
Days later, the question was still bugging John. Why were so many penises in love with the groom? But no one loved John.
It wasn't fair. John deserved attention. He had money and Buttstagram pics of his adventures. He even still had quite a lot of stuff. What did that penis have that John didn't?
食べるんじゃないの？パイナップル食べれないの？Do the dish って何どういう意味？日本語で喋れ。何すればいいかわからん。ちょっとお。
Then it hit John. That penis was so strong and hard. That's what everyone wanted. That's what John wasn't. That's what John had to be to find love. It was time to hit the gym.
ヒットザサック。寝ればいいの？
John arrived at his local gym. A part of him couldn't believe he was here. He just wasn't a gym penis. But John had tried everything else. If he wanted to get the perfect date, he'd need to sign up. Sam? What was he doing here? Of course, Sam was married. John's theory was right. If you get muscles, you get love. Out of nowhere, Sam asked John how he was doing. Really doing. For a moment, John wanted to be honest, but he didn't come to gym to be a softie. John was here to get hard. It was John's first time in a gym since school. He tried not to read too much into that. John had two options. He could try month by month, or if he signed the 10-year Big Muscles Big Savings contract, he'd get a free easy squeezy water bottle. John only needed muscles for the reunion. After that, he wouldn't care. John wasn't a sucker. He knew the importance of hydration. The gym's clean peen pool policy meant that John would have to do something he had never done before. Get naked in front of strangers. Maybe he could set a record for speediest cleanse. John tried rinsing off in the toilet bowl. He did not get clean.
おしっこしだしたけど。
John pretended he was alone and not surrounded by wrinkly, wet cocks.
洗えばいいの?
If John had to be clean, he might as well do his laundry too.
ラウンドリー、ラウンドリー。フットンスイムスイーツ。
Very fetching, John. It even matches your tan lines.
あ、プールに入るの?
Time to conquer the pool. Sam enthusiastically greeted John and offered to show him around, obviously not realizing that John was a natural athlete. The pool was like baptism, the icy water washing away John's flabby flab. He found his stroke, gliding through the water like an eel with large, ungainly testicles. This wasn't hard. John couldn't believe Peens actually got gold medals just for splashing around. Maybe he could become an Olympian. He was slowing down a bit, flailing a bit, but John pushed on, knowing that looking good in a Speedo was the only thing that could save him from an empty existence. John wanted to take a break, forever. The pool was not his friend. It was not the blissful wet dream of his fantasies. It was a hellish prison of murderous fluid, determined to drown him. No wonder life crawled out of the sea, desperate to escape the water. Done. John had not drowned, but more importantly, he had not quit. Time to hit the weight room. John's muscles bunched and bulged. The time in the gym was already paying off. Fresh from conquering the pool, John felt ready for anything the gym could throw at him, even heavy metal weights. Clearly, John knew how to handle equipment. Sam cheered John on, as if he needed it. Adrenaline coursed through John's veins, his butthole clenched like a fist.
あ、持ち上げればいいだけこうやって。ほらほら!
John was forging himself into the peen he saw on movie screens, bulging and sweat-slicked, hard and shiny. Boom! John was cocked and loaded. Didn't Sam ever get out of breath? The stream of encouragement was exhausting. John, getting flung from fast-moving objects since preschool. Like the sweet sound of spaghetti and meatballs hitting a wall. Slow and steady. That's right, John. Like a lover. Or pouring gravy.
やばー
Would John ever learn? Odds are no.
いたお前のも早いのにしてあげる。これ乗ってみすげえから。ほら全然ゲーム性がわからんな。
That had gotten John's heart rate up and his life expectancy down. John was sweating like a senator on a sex tape, but he wasn't done. John took a deep breath, clenched, and pulled. Sam made this look so easy. John squashed the thought. He'd just have to push
こ
harder.
れ何お尻鍛えてんの？
John tried to make eye contact with Sam, get in his head a bit.
おら
Sam didn't seem to notice John, but John could tell Sam was impressed. Even though he still hadn't looked at John, not that it mattered to John, because John was in the zone, deep in the zone. With the sound of a deflating truck tire, John's sphincter gave out. Sam congratulated John for trying and told him it was okay to take things slow, as if John was going to quit. Well, he wasn't. John had a mission, and the reunion
さっ
was
ぱり意
getting
味わかん
closer.
ないこのゲーム。あとで英語わかる人とやろうね。鍛えてんの今。なんかでっかくなってってねこのチンコ。あ、鍛えてんだ今。なんで行ったことなんないの？はい。あはーん。え、何どうすればいいの？危なっ。え？ 切れたチンコだらけになってますけど。こっち行けって。え、どういうこと？なにどういうこと？全然わからんゲームが。 No one will love you。
As soon as
このゲームわからん。やめる。
His abs looked like a pack of vacuum
皆
sealed
さ
hot
ん
dogs.
さようなら。